Yo, what is going on, guys? Xtimus here. So before I start this video, I just want to let you guys know that this is about a 30-minute video. So I'm really going into some crazy details with this build on every single little thing, like the base weapons, the mercenary, the skills, and really just trying to explain to you guys how a martial arts Natalya set build works. So make sure you guys check the description below if you want to skip the different parts of the video that you want to see, if you don't want to sit through the whole video, just so you could see the items or the skills. But also all of that information for the items and skills, everything like that, will be in the description below. So I love you guys so much, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. What is going on, guys? Xtimus here. So today I'm going to be showing you guys the Natalya set build in Diablo 2. I'm really going to be trying to make this build a little bit on the cheaper side. I've been trying to do that a lot more with a lot of my builds rather than throwing like 10 high runes into the mix, just to kind of make things a little bit more realistic as far as, you know, getting the items in the game. So the Natalya set is one of the biggest sets in Diablo 2 that I think a lot of people just make a lot of confusion surrounded around it in the community. As far as builds go, I mean, some people use a trap assassin with this build, some people go with martial arts, and then there's like 3 different types of ways that people will go about using the build. So I'm just going to show you guys my martial arts assassin. This one's actually going to be martial arts, partly Phoenix Strike, and the rest are just the elemental blades and fists and all that good stuff. So I'm really going to give you guys a good rundown on this build about the skills, the items, why I chose the items that I did, and I'm going to be showing you guys some gameplay of this character just to show you guys how well the build works in Diablo 2 in Hell mode. So the first thing with the items, guys, is obviously I'm using the full Natalya set. I'm using the helmet, armor, weapon, and the boots. And as far as putting something into the armor and the weapons, I just put a lot of the elemental facets in there. I just mixed it up a little bit. I would just put whatever elemental jewels you come across in there. I would try to get at least maybe 3 lightning facets in there. And I mean, these can be really cheap within the community, so I mean, any low level ones you come around, you know, if they're not perfect, just throw them in there for now, and it'll really help out all your elemental damage for your martial arts skills. So as far as the rest of the gear, I'm really crazy about attack rating. I hate when I miss on melee characters, especially when I'm fighting a boss or something like that. Your attack rating just drops. I mean, you might have like a 95% chance to hit a monster, but as soon as you fight like Diablo, it's going to drop like 30% sometimes. It kind of depends on the items and everything that you have on, your character, things like that. So I usually, with most of my melee characters, I use angelic wings. So I'm using the angelic amulet, angelic ring, and I'm using a Ravenfrost ring. That's pretty obvious for the cannot be frozen mod because I don't want to get frozen. And if you do, every time you get hit by some cold damage or certain types of cold damage, you're attacking really slow. So for a melee character, cannot be frozen is absolutely necessary. And then I'm using Dungos for the belt, and Dracs for the boots, or Dracs for the gloves. The belt and the gloves aren't really going to make or break this build, guys. You know, you could kind of just go with whatever you have at the time. I'm not saying that these items are completely necessary. And then the one thing that I made a change to personally was I'm using the Jade Talon. Now this is an assassin weapon that is not used very often within the community, and I think it's perfect for this build because this build lacks a lot of resistances, and the Jade Talon gives 50 resistances at the maximum stat rate. So I really enjoy using the Jade Talon, and all of these items are going to be really easy for you to come around in Diablo 2 as far as the trading community. I know getting like all the skill charms and all that. I'm using all martial arts skill charms and a torch. I know a lot of that stuff isn't always going to be easy to come by in Diablo 2 to get every single thing, but trying to trade for these items in Diablo 2, you know, it's really going to be easy to trade for these because not a lot of people use them, and they're really not worth that much. Then on Switch, I don't have anything. I could be using a Call to Arms, but like I said, I'm trying to keep my builds on the cheaper side lately. So, and this is a big decision I made with the Mercenary. I really don't think that the Mercenary is going to make or break this build. You could go with an infinity. That's obviously going to help the damage by a lot, and then you're not going to have to worry about immunities. But one of the biggest things about this build that I enjoy is you don't have to worry about immunities, because you can switch to different types of elemental damage that you want to do based on whether the monster you're fighting is immune to fire. If it's immune to fire, then you can switch to lightning and etc. Opportunity to just do whatever I wanted with my mercenary, because it didn't make or break the build. I could have went with an Act 2 mercenary with blessed aim just to get some more attack rating, but I really wanted to go with an Act 5 mercenary, and the reason why I wanted to do that is because Act 5 mercenaries have a ton of life. They have a lot of really good survivability, so you're not having to resurrect them all the time. But I'm using a Lawbringer sword on this mercenary, and I really think that was a good idea, because I really like to have good survivability in Diablo 2. I hate dying all the time, and using a Lawbringer on an Act 5 mercenary is really going to do some really nice crowd control, because it gives a level 15 Decrepify and level 18 Sanctuary aura. So the Sanctuary aura is going to be knocking back all the skeletons, all of the undead enemies. You know, Lord Xtimus and Chaos is known for just demolishing people all the time. And with this Lawbringer on, that's actually going to consistently knock them back. Same thing with the skeleton archers in the Frigid Highlands, or wherever skeleton archers are. They do a ton of damage, but with this Sanctuary aura going on, they're just going to be getting knocked back constantly. It's like a pulse. The Decrepify is really good too, and he's going to be casting that a lot since he's using a phase blade, has really fast attack speed, so that's really going to slow down the monsters a lot and make them a lot weaker. So I really think that was a good choice for me personally, and just for what I personally like out of my character. And as far as the armor goes, I'm using Treachery. This is pretty obvious for the Fade aura. Also has 45 increased attack speed, which is really good. I had to get a Crown of Thieves for the helmet, because using a phase blade, I was lacking a little bit of dexterity. So getting Crown of Thieves is really nice to get that dexterity. It has a life bonus, life leech stolen per hit. So that's really good right there. I mean, just to add on to his survivability. And yet again, these are items that are really, really cheap, guys, and really effective. And that's one of the main things I wanted to do with this build. All right, so let's get into the stat points right now. So we're not going to put any points in the traps. We're going to be putting 1 point in the claw mastery, 1 point in the burst of speed. And I didn't go with weapon block. If you want to go with weapon block, you could if you want to have more survivability, but I really don't like weapon block, because you're blocking constantly, and that's really interrupting your attacks all the time, and it just gets really frustrating when you're trying to attack, then you're consistently blocking all the time. So I really don't enjoy having weapon block, but if that's something that you want to do, I mean, you could go ahead and do it. If you do put 1 point in the weapon block, I would suggest you get a Shadow Master too, because that's just going to help you out even more, and maybe put 1 point in the Mind Blast, but I didn't really find that necessary for my build, because I'm getting Decrepify from my Mercenary. Now this is where the majority of your skill points are going to go into, martial arts. So the first thing that you want to do is make sure you have 1 point into Dragon Talon, 1 point in a Dragon Claw. You're going to be using Dragon Claw for your finishing move, and I'll show you guys how to do that once we start playing the character, for all of you guys that aren't very familiar with the assassin and martial arts and how it all works. So then I put 1 point into Dragon Tail and 1 point into Dragon Flight. And Dragon Flight is really cool if you want to teleport around. It's not going to be like Enigma, but you can hit like one time and then use that as a finishing move on a monster, so you can like teleport onto the monster. I think it's pretty cool, you know, if you want to teleport onto a certain character, and maybe move your mercenary to a certain boss. It's really convenient, you know, you get to teleport without Enigma. So I think that's really cool that Blizzard added that to the assassin. I think that's something else pretty cool. So and then as far as the main points right here, you're going to be putting 80 points into all this right here. So you want to put 20 points into Fist of Fire, 20 points Claws of Thunder, 20 points Blades of Ice, and 20 points in the Phoenix Strike. So these are all your attacks right here that you're going to be using. So me personally, Phoenix Strike is one of the biggest talked about skills in the game as far as assassins go in martial arts. And for me personally, I really don't like using Phoenix Strike, and the reason for that is because there's so many different elemental damages going on right there, and you need to get the certain charge to use the elemental spell that you want to use. So as you can see right now, if you're looking at the bottom, if you hit a monster once, you get 1 charge. If you hit a monster twice, you get a 2nd charge, and you're going to be getting that 2nd spell right there. So usually I want to use Claws of Thunder because that uses the most damage, and I just find it really inconvenient for me to have to hit a monster 3 times and then use the finishing move. So it'll get to the point where I'm hitting a monster twice instead of 3 times. You always have to make sure you use the right amount of charges to get the spell you want to get out of Phoenix Strike. So for me personally, I really don't like using it, and I mean, it's kind of up to you. If you think that you can get it down and you can get the charge rotations right, if you guys understand what I'm saying about this skill, then go ahead and do that. But like I said, for me personally, it's definitely not my thing. One of the cool things you can do with Phoenix Strike and all of these other spells is you can actually get a whole bunch of different charges up. So if you want to, make things a little bit crazy, you could get a bunch of charges from Phoenix Strike, a bunch of charges from Blades of Ice and Thunder. And then once you have all those charges, I'll show you guys when I'm playing the character, then you use your finishing move. That will allow you to use all of those different types of spells at once. But it's kind of time consuming to get all those different charges. So as far as immunities in Diablo 2 and Hell mode, we all know that as a spellcaster or someone that's using elemental damage, it's really hard to play through the game without running into cold immunes or something like that. And that's one of the reasons why I really like this character, and why I set it up like this, is because you could choose which type of elemental damage that you want to do based on the immunity of the monster. So for example, if the monster is immune to cold, you could go ahead and use a fire or lightning spell, then you don't have to worry about immunities. So I know I'm going on and on about this, but I really wanted to give you guys a very detailed version and try to make you guys understand what's going on with this build. Assassins can be very confusing to people at first, and I'm trying to explain it to you guys the best that I can. So you guys might be able to understand it and a little bit better once I show you some gameplay of it. So as far as the attributes go, I just put enough points in to use my gear and enough dex to use my weapons, and then the rest I put in the vitality. And this is really nice, dude. This character has 1700 health with no battle orders on right now, so that's really nice, and it just adds on to the build being a cheat build, which I really like. So all right, so what we'll do, we'll set the players to 1. First thing you want to do is make sure you have your burst of speed up, or your attack rating is just going to be horrible. And you also get to run around really fast, so I really enjoy that. I just try to make it really simple. Right here on the left, I have lightning spells, fire spells, and then ice spells. So, and then like I said, based on what kind of character or what kind of boss I'm fighting, boss or monster, if they're immune to something, then I'll just switch to a different element. So, and then when you're using these skills, you always want to make sure when you get the charges up that you use Dragon Claw. So I'm just going to use I'm just going to experiment with you guys here. This is perfect, this little thing right here. So every time you use the Claws of Thunder or whatever it is, these little elemental things, once you get 1 hit off or 2, you get these little orbs right here. These are the charges. So what you're going to get is you're going to get charge 2, and it's going to do Nova damage. If you hit them again, you're going to get a 3rd charge for the next charge bolt damage. But to use that, you have to use a finishing move. So I usually use Dragon Claw because it does the most damage. Same thing with Dragonflight, it's a finishing move. So you have to have something charged up to use it. So right there, I got 2 hits off. And now I'm going to be using a Nova, and I'm going to teleport onto them, and they'll use the Nova. Didn't use the Nova, but you guys kind of get what I mean. But this is really cool because, like I said, you can mix all these different charges up. Like Remember how I was saying you don't really want to use Phoenix Strike, or I don't want to use Phoenix Strike? You could still use the Phoenix Strike charges, charge them up like that, and then mix all the different elements. Mix some fire elements, lightning, some more cold, and then you can just do a big, huge finishing move right there for 23,000 damage. Bam. So it's really kind of up to you how you want to do that. It's a really fun thing to do, to just kind of mess around with the charges and do all different types of things. But just to make it a little bit more simple, like I said, guys, I just use the 3 elements right there is what I use most of the time. But if it's not immune to lightning, I usually just use lightning, claws of thunder, because that does the most damage. So you guys will be able to see the real damage that I do here when I have the charges up. Because right now I have no charges up. So with the 3rd charge of Claws of Thunder, I'm doing 15k damage. But once I use it, I need to charge it up back again. So it's a really cool thing to just kind of mess around with. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave the game and we're going to start over. Because I just wanted to give you guys an example there of what charges and all that weird stuff is about. Because it's a really unique thing to do. No other class in Diablo 2 has this type of melee elemental damage in it. So it's really confusing for a lot of people, and it was really confusing for me because, you know, I never really played an assassin that much. So it took me a while to kind of learn this, and I'm still learning myself, you know, mixing up spells and doing all that stuff. You could be a really skilled character and really learn a lot if you learn how to rotate your charges and do different things with your character. Alright, so let's just go back to the basics here and show you guys how I play this character just normally. So normally, most of the time, I just use Claws of Thunder, and I just have Dragon Claw on the right all the time. I kind of just run around and melee stuff. Right there, just so you guys can see my damage from the charges. So as you guys could see right there, I mean, that was really easy to just kind of blow through that with no battle orders, no high rune items. It's really nice, dude. I also like using the Blades of Ice to kind of freeze all the characters around me. So as you can see right there, they're really frozen. So sometimes I like to do that, and if you have a point in the Mind Blast, sometimes you can just cast a Mind Blast if you're in a sticky situation. But back to the killing. Alright. Deathclaw. So as you guys can see, I mean, the damage is pretty nice and the survivability is really good. So, but now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a 4-player game. I actually tried this character on 8-player settings and the damage just wasn't enough. It kind of just took too long. But, I mean, 8-player games are 8-player games. It's going to be tough, dude, and you need a really good character to do some nice damage on 8 players. Bam, son. Alright, so let's run around the world a little bit and try to run into some other other elemental immunity monsters and just show you guys how I do that. So we'll put up fire for now. Really doesn't do as much damage, but you know, like I said, it's really nice to be able to kill monsters when it's really nice to kill monsters without having to worry about cold immunities and all that stuff. It's really frustrating for like a sorceress. Oh, nice, dude. Earth Balrog Blade. 3 socket. See, and what you could do for your mercenary, if you wanted to go with this mercenary here, if you're trying not to get the Crown of Thieves and get that dexterity going, you could use one of these right here and just make a sanctuary out of that. That'd be really nice. It'd probably do more damage too. But with the phase blade, you're going to be casting a lot more decreptifies because phase blade has a very fast attack speed. So the thing with Phoenix Strike is, for me, I like using 2 charges so I can do the most damage with Chain Lightning. So you have to make sure that you only get it on 2 charges. If you get it to 3 charges, then it's going to be doing the Chaos Ice Bolt damage, as you can see at the bottom. So I'm just going to show you guys how much damage that can do. See, it does nice damage, but as you guys can see, like right there, what I did is I accidentally hit him 3 times instead of 2, which ended up with me doing that Ice Bolt damage, which is, you know, what I was trying not to do, because it doesn't do as much damage. So you can see right here, that's how much the first charge does. That's how much the lightning charge does. And the cold one only does 2,000 damage. So that's a big jump up damage if you miss that charge. Some people like it that way. Ooh, nice at Thresher. Very nice. Could use a socket quest and get 4 sockets on that. So it's kind of up to you when it comes to Phoenix Strike. I think it's a little bit, I don't know, confusing when it comes to trying to get that Chain Lightning off every time, and then if you don't, you're ending up doing a very low damage Chaos Ice Bolt there. So that is about it for this video though, guys. I hope you enjoy the Natalya set build. I really enjoyed this build and I'm really excited to use it. I think it's freaking awesome. It's a really cheap build to go with. A lot of these items, a lot of people will be willing to trade you in the Diablo 2 community. So it's a really nice build for you guys to get a hold of and just mess around with. It's not the most damage dealing build in the game. It's not a Blizzard Sorceress or Lightning Sorceress just running through Bale runs in 2 minutes, but it is a really cheap build and it's a really effective build to kind of just run through the game and do your own thing and have a really nice build at a really cheap price. So it's pretty awesome. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this video, what you guys think about this build. If you guys have any suggestions about the build, let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you guys subscribe if you want to keep up with Diablo 2 content. And also make sure you guys hit that little bell button down there so you guys can get notifications when I upload Diablo 2 videos. So links for my Twitch, Discord, and Patreon are in the description below. If you guys want to join the Throne of Sanctuary clan, you guys can go to the Discord and hit me up on there. We have our own clan on Diablo 2. So, and that's about it, guys. I love you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.